Hi there, this is Donna Bordeaux with Campground Accounting, and you are listening to Campground Compass, the show dedicated to campground owners in an entrepreneurial mindset who seek to grow and expand in the wild and wonderful world of business.
Hey, welcome to Campground Compass. We are on episode 2. This might be a different number if something happens, but right now, as we're recording it, it is our second episode. We are in different locations this time.
Yoo-hoo.
I am still at home, and they are traveling. They are getting to know some industry knowledge on the campground industry. And you want to tell us where you're at?
Sure. We are currently at Buena Vista Motorcoach Resort in Orange Beach, Alabama. So I'm across the street from the beautiful white sands of the Gulf. It's awesome. Great weather. A little sweaty today, so but nice and warm.
Yep. So that is, I've obviously been there, and we actually own lots there.
Yeah.
At that RV park, and it's a really nice RV park.
One of my favorites.
Good time. Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beautiful things there that a lot of other RV parks don't offer. There's, just peace and quiet. There's beautiful lots. As you can see in the background, we got some great palm trees. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the beautiful palm trees in the background. And you might also, if you're an audio listener, hear some ocean breeze coming by as the podcast goes on. So,
yeah, we'll be heading down to the lazy river in a while to go float around. Great lazy river. Like, I've been in some lazy rivers where you sit and you have to kind of push yourself along or you get stuck. This is not that. This is a great one. You just sit and it does all the work for you. So it's awesome. Take a drink in a tube and you're all set to go.
Yep. It's a nice RV park.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I went out this morning, across from our lot is a canal, and we have a resident alligator, and he was out this morning. I swear he must be eating really well, because I think he's bigger than he was last time we were here. I got some good pictures, so I'll add those in, and maybe we can put some of those up there too.
Yeah, we'll put some of those up here in post-production. Yep. And one of the things, if you think you might have heard of Buena Vista, one of the things that you may know Buena Vista from is there was a TikTok video that actually went viral on Buena Vista that kind of showcased the campground, and it's actually helped the RV park get a lot more sales recently, and a lot more people have been coming to the RV park because of the video. So.
Yeah, this is one of the few locations where you can rent an RV lot and also have access to the coach house. We have, I think there's 4 different coach houses right now, and there's several being built. But you can come take your RV and park it there, and then if you bring family along, grandparents, kids with aunts and uncles, there are coach houses, so you can have other family members stay in the coach house. And there was recently a video on TikTok where somebody took a video of the inside of one of the coach houses. And it's kind of a rarity. Usually there may be coach houses or casitas in a lot of these, but you usually don't have access to them as a renter.
Yep. And also, in addition to Buena Vista and your travels, you also went to ZeroCon.
I did, yay! So I just got back yesterday from New Orleans. A friend of mine went down, a colleague. We went to ZeroCon. There were about 1,000 people there, and had a great time. We didn't sleep much because there were activities starting every morning and going until 11, 12 at night. And I'm sure there were a lot of people out a lot later than that, knowing our crowd. Many people think that accountants all go to bed and they're boring people. They probably go to bed early. This crowd at ZeroCon and the Zero users will prove you wrong.
Those are the TurboTax accountants.
Yeah, those are the green users may go to bed early, but the blue Zero users are a whole different crowd of accountants. different style than not your grandfather's CPA kind of people. So we had a lot of fun. Saw a lot of people. I'm in several different groups of innovative accountants, and I couldn't believe the number of people that I actually knew that were from all of the groups that I'm in. So it was great to catch up. It was one of the few in-person events after COVID with everybody getting back out. So there were a lot of great people there, had a lot of great info. And there was a pretty cool underlying theme. A lot of RVers, if you could believe that. The former president of the North American operations at Xero is an RVer. He's actually, the software itself is from New Zealand originally, and is a huge majority of the market in New Zealand, Australia right now, and not as big in the U.S. They're growing that subscriber base. But our head of North American operations is leaving at the end of September, and he is currently living in Boulder, Colorado, and he plans to stay in the U.S. through the end of the year and go on a road trip with his family. They're going up to see Yellowstone, South Dakota, all up along the northern parts of the U.S., and getting to travel with his family. So a neat thing to run into him. We had a chance to talk to him, and also had a lot of other RVers there. One of our speakers is a full-time RVer. Shout out to Chad Davis. He is actually from Canada, and great innovative mind of accounting. And he lives with his 2 kids, 2 dogs, and his wife in a fifth wheel. And they travel throughout Canada and the U.S. So there was a huge underlying element of people who were RVers and travelers and campers. So it was an awesome time, and really a unique mix that I didn't know that I'd find.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Like, you were telling me about all the people that were RVing there. That's, I don't know. It's just interesting to see how the industry is actually growing so rapidly, especially even just across that accounting industry. It's just, I don't know. It's pretty cool.
And, with the advent of cloud accounting, you can be anywhere and do your work. So as long as you got a good internet connection, make sure you have that at your RV park, you will attract a lot of people who are self-employed and remote workers who are able to work from anywhere they want to work. So just need an internet connection, they're good to go.
Yeah, so let's see. How many years ahead of the curve were we on doing RVing?
Yeah.
What, like 6 or 7 years probably at least?
It's been 10 years since we bought our first camper. And obviously internet wasn't as good at some campgrounds back then, and we started out in some state parks, which are still, for the most part, way behind when it comes to offering the fourth utility Wi-Fi. But it has come a long way in a pretty short amount of time.
And now you can see where you're at a campground and recording a podcast. Like, the Wi-Fi there seems pretty good. The
Wi-Fi here is equivalent to the really fast fiber service that I have at home. They have fiber internet here. So, most of the campgrounds that are looking to really market and attract new people and attract buyers who will spend a greater amount of money, your best way to get that going is to offer some upgraded internet, and that will attract a lot of people. And when I say upgraded internet, I don't necessarily mean the pay internet. That is an option where some campgrounds offer. You can pay by the day for faster upgraded internet. Honestly, I don't. I can use my phone as long as I get good cell service. And I kind of regret, or it's kind of like saying, hey, if you want electricity, you're going to have to pay for it separately if you want more. It's one of those things that people just don't want to pay extra for because it should be there already.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we've been talking about for a long time is the fourth utility being Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi is just something that, a lot of people take it for granted if they're living at home, but they go to an RV park and they don't have any cell signal, or some of these places we went out west, there was nothing. It was like dirt and sand, and a few mountains here and there for miles, and there's no cell signal out there. So your only way to, your only shot is to get Wi-Fi, and you got to pay for Wi-Fi. A lot of people aren't willing to pay for it, in addition to what they're paying to stay there, especially if they're paying a hefty sum of money to stay at a campground.
And if you just go ahead and offer the Wi-Fi, instead of charging somebody $10 extra a day for the faster Wi-Fi, just raise all your rates by $5 all across the board. Cover it. Make it be an amenity, a benefit, not a pay-to-play kind of an extra. People just don't consider Wi-Fi should be an extra.
Yeah, people should do it almost like they do a pool. Like, it's an amenity.
Yeah.
It's something that's nice to have. It's something that you can advertise it.
It attracts
it's a great
buyers.
thing to advertise for. Yeah, it attracts buyers. It attracts especially business owners and the people who actually have money to pay to stay at your campground.
Right.
And not some hoodlums who are staying there because they just got out of college and don't have any money and want to trash the place.
We had a little community event here the other day, and honestly, every time I've been here to Buena Vista, especially, most of the people here are self-employed. I understand completely. It's hard if you've got the 9-to-5 job where you have to report into the office every day. It's hard to get away for a longer period of time. But that's becoming less and less of the norm. People are wanting to work remotely and go live life while they work too. At an interesting topic at ZeroCon, they were talking about work-life balance. And somebody said it's not really a balance anymore. They have to work together, so it's really like a work-life harmony. It's not that you have like a certain point where you do work and then a certain point where you do life. People want to do them all together in one. Enjoy their work just like they do their life.
Yep. Yeah, and another thing that we can talk about with the internet is, a lot of these places, they still have to have cable TV, and with streaming coming into the market, how is that going to affect cable? That makes you think, would it be cheaper just to buy every campsite a Fire TV and $25 a piece, or I don't know how much they cost, but for the amount of money that some of these places are paying for cable is just crazy.
Yeah, I had that conversation here with one of the folks in the property management office. People, the movement at home now is to cut the cord. And there are very few people that I know who still have the old style of wired up cable. And even Dish and DirecTV are not really doing it as a satellite service much anymore. It's really more about going through the internet and streaming your TV now. And we were talking about it in the office. They still have cable here, and they just recently upgraded the internet to the fiber. And they were talking about they switched, I don't know if it was from Dish to DirecTV or vice versa, I can't remember. But the cable bill here in this park, and this is less than 100 sites, is over $900 a month. That just seems crazy.
Wow.
And we were talking about do people really still plug into cable? Is it a requirement anymore? Or if you have solid internet, can you just switch over and let people stream? Because I think that's what they want to do anyhow. That's what I would rather do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if you had people who came to your park who aren't set up for streaming, man, I would think it would be easier to just give them a $25 Fire Stick and show them how to do it. I don't know. It's one of those where I think
Yeah.
the market's changing. It's just a matter of how fast it's going to change. But
Yeah,
you can
that's-
do a lot for $900 a month.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where that goes in the next few years, because that's a lot
Yeah,
for just for cable.
right. And I know,
At
here,
home we have all streaming, and most people that I talk to have all streaming, unless their husband works in a cable company. They all have streaming.
right. And even
So-
even a cable company usually now has a way that you can watch TV away from home on your phone and stream it through
Yeah.
your phone. So, and the other thing that, when you plug into cable, just like if you went to a hotel, you got to roll through a lot of channels, or maybe not a lot of channels, just to try to figure out, like, you don't know where the channels are, you don't know what channels they offer. I know exactly what TV, and like my streaming services know what shows I like to watch, where I left off on a series. It's so much more convenient to just be able to use your own streaming, and also then use that same internet and have great internet service in your park.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's move into our latest news section for today. We're going to talk about Labor Day is coming up soon.
Yeah.
When you're watching this, it might be a few weeks ago, but as we're recording this, we're trying to get a few out and record it. So, Labor Day, and this will apply to most holidays.
Yeah.
But 25 million households are planning to be camping over the Labor Day holiday. I know we've always camped over Labor Day, and we always, it's 4 days, but it's something. The kids are off school, most people are off work if you're working a 9 to 5, and if you work on, like us, like all of our stuff can be done from the road, you can get off, and if you're self-employed, you can get off. So there's a lot of people that are camping over the holidays, and you don't realize how much that is, but KOA also reported in July that in the entire month there were 15 million people who camped in the entire month of July. So
that's a pretty big increase to go from 15 million people camping in a month to 25 million people camping in a month.
No, not 25 million in a month, 25 million in a weekend.
Or a weekend, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's even more
That's
drastic.
a heck of an increase. Yeah. I mean, even to go from 15 million to 25 million month to month is a dramatic increase, but that's a lot to go from a month to a weekend.
It is.
So.
The roads are going to be cramped, and one of the things we find is that, sometimes when there's a lot of people camping, tensions can go high and things go a little awry, but you got to make sure you get your best customer service out there, because these are people who are going to be long timers. Looking back, we went to Ocean Lakes for many, many years over Labor Day, and it was kind of a family tradition. We'd go to the same place year after year. So if you've got people coming into your park for Labor Day weekend, keep in mind, this might not just be this one visit. This might be a long-term tradition. So make sure you treat them right, have that park cleaned up, be shiny, spanking new, and treat everybody with great customer service. I know it's hard to staff and get everything ready for this big, giant weekend, but do your best and make sure you take good care of people. And tell your staff, go the extra mile. This is like the grand finale of the summer camp season is Labor Day. So give it that extra push, that one last extra push, and then we'll head into the next part of the year. Shoulder season for some, but October's a big month for a lot of parks here, especially on the East Coast for Halloween. Big time. So yeah, make
and
sure
Halloween's
you're ready.
Another one. I wonder how many people camp on Halloween versus Labor Day, because I know we also went and camped every Halloween because we got
Well, at least
You know?
with Halloween now, though,
that's
it's
kind of
getting
a-
split up over 4 weeks. A lot of campgrounds,
Yeah.
you know, the surge of all the people, they've split up their Halloween festivities into all 4 weeks of October, so they don't miss
Mm-hmm.
that out. Obviously, Labor Day, it would be harder to do that. Maybe you could try, though. But people don't usually get days off for Halloween like they do for Labor Day.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
another
So-
thing to kind of watch, and a little too late for this year probably to make this happen, but make sure that you're looking at the pricing. You know, you have this huge demand for that one weekend of Labor Day. That means the price should go up. We all know supply and demand, one of my favorite theories of economics. When supply is your supply is consistent, but your demand is skyrocketing. So you can command a higher price for those weekends, and make sure that you put limits so that it's not a one day. You know, you want somebody to come for the whole weekend, and people understand that, and they're willing to pay for the whole weekend, even if they're going to be a little later getting in, or people are there because they want to be.
Yeah. So in this study that I'm reading, it says 58%, or it says observing the entire camping audience, 58% say they plan to camp over Labor Day holiday. So 58% of the entire camping market is planning to camp over Labor Day.
Whew.
While most 30% say that they only plan to camp for the long weekend, an impressive 42% of campers indicate that they will extend their holiday. Of this group, 22% expect to camp the entire weekend before or after Labor Day, while a similar number, 21%, will likely add a few extra days to their trip.
I'm on that list.
Yep.
We're actually headed up to the Ridge and Pigeon Forge for Labor Day, and we are leaving on Monday. We'll be there on Tuesday. So we are staying from Tuesday to Tuesday, so one whole week, even though Labor Day is a long weekend. So, you know, you're going to have a busy week in there, even with the weekends before and after Labor Day.
Yep. And, like, another thing that's interesting is for teens like me, and I know my friend's going as well, but we are able to just drive to Pigeon Forge. Although usually we wouldn't be able to camp, we're able to camp because we just have a long weekend. So that's another thing to look at, is there's going to be an increase of not only adults but also kids in your park. So what can you do to make that experience better? What amenities for kids can we think of to start implementing? I know in the last episode we talked, or I guess the first episode, I got to stop saying the last because something could change and this might not be the second episode like we're planning it to be. But in the first episode we talked about the T-Rex, finding the T-Rex in augmented reality in your park. That was pretty awesome for the kids' amenities. But what other creative ideas can you think of to implement for kids in your park?
And I want to make another point about that. When we talk about kids, most people think about 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds. They're having little scavenger hunts or a special game at the pool or a painting event. One of the big markets that gets left out is teens. The teens. And I know that's a tougher one to cater to, but it's not that hard. A lot of places, and I just actually heard this weekend when I was at ZeroCon. I was talking to somebody, and his daughter is 14 years old. And she has said, I don't really want to camp with mom and dad. It's just not fun. Because there aren't a lot of things in parks for teens to do. But that's pretty easily remedied. What do teens like? They like music. They like social events. You don't have to have a big hole in your activities and not bring the teens out. Because this is where a lot of people kind of fall in a hole on camping. We were looking to upgrade our RV. And a guy, we obviously asked, why are you selling? The guy said, well, I have teenagers and they don't want to go. So he said, we plan to pick this back up after the kids get in college. But we got to sell the RV. Why? All because the teens didn't think it was fun. If those teenagers were telling their parents, yeah, I'm game, let's go. Let me bring a friend with me even. And he said he even tried to bribe his daughter to bring a friend with her. Cater to that market too. Don't leave the teens out. They're an important segment that's bringing people to the park.
Yeah, and another thing is, obviously teens, like me, use social media a lot. What can you do to get those teens to promote your park on social media? Not just to other friends, but also, saying, like with the T-Rex we talked about, the kid's going to be saying for a week, for weeks, oh, you remember when that T-Rex hatched at XYZ campground? What can you do to get the teens to be saying the same thing to make them market for you as well?
Yeah.
Teens are on social media a lot, so social media is a great tool for that. Teens are the ones that are primarily posting on social media as well. So can you have them post something for you? Can you have them promote for you? What can you give them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think you could definitely do some, events focused towards social media. You may even be able to create a nice little buzz for yourself by promoting that. And also, I mentioned scavenger hunts. A lot of people do scavenger hunts for little kids. It's pretty easy and kind of cool to do them for teens as well. Change your game up slightly, but it's really the same game. I know we made up our own. We'd go on the golf carts at Ocean Lakes and do our own scavenger hunts. I sometimes was the one who went to bed, but they would go throughout the park and play hide and seek with the golf carts and try to find each other, or have some other types of events that cater a little bit more to the teens and get them interested in being at your park. Because I will tell you, if a 5-year-old's miserable, they're going to take a nap, and mom and dad will still have fun. If a 13-year-old is miserable, mom and dad are going to be miserable too. Make sure you don't leave the teens out.
Yep. And so to continue on to this article, it says that Memorial Day is actually the most popular camping holiday, according to KOA. So Labor Day is looking to outpace Memorial Day. So this year's Labor Day is going to have a lot more people at it than it usually does, and than Memorial Day is going to, which is kind of interesting as well. The chief marketing officer at KOA quotes, between brightening economic conditions and the continued growth of late summer and fall camping, it's apparent that camping is not just confined to a season. So that's another thing that we talk about. We talk about in accounting, we talk about 4-season accounting, but what about 4-season camping?
Yeah. I think that, again, the world has changed, and yes, a lot of terrible things happened with COVID, but one of the really great things for campgrounds that happened is that people can work remotely. They have decided that there's a much bigger focus on having a good life, not just a good retirement, but a good life all throughout their lives. They want to enjoy themselves. And how do they do it? The generations, all the different generations, all want to get out and relax, have some fun, and get outside. It's just a common thread. So campgrounds are prime places to really benefit from what has happened, from the turn in thinking of the work environment. Yeah.
Yep. It's something to think about. Always remember, just keep in mind what goes on in your holiday season is, what starts most campers off. Well, I know when we started going on, or when we started camping, we didn't start by going out to Yellowstone. We started by going out to Ocean Lakes, going out to, these little parks, state parks, things like that are just kind of close around us. And especially through COVID, we were supposed to go up to Maine, and we did not go up to Maine because of COVID, because everything was closed down. So instead, we went to a bunch of small little parks around us within a certain mile radius around us. And we just, we went for weekends, but we didn't have to go for a whole week because it's so close. It's not like you're driving out to Yellowstone. You have to stay at Yellowstone for a week to see everything. You can't stay there for a weekend. But in these places kind of around us, it was easier for us to just get out and stay for a weekend.
Yeah.
So,
and they've done a lot of studies now too, as gas prices increased, and I think people are I don't know. I think they're kind of getting over the price of gas and just putting it aside, and it's become normal. But when gas prices were increasing, especially, they talked about people were really trying to stay within 2 to 3 hours of home, even 1 hour of home, doing more of the staycation kind of things. But that's also a test ground for people to do remote work close to home, because they can then get their comfort level up to say, like, now I can go further away. I've been close by just in case I needed to come back, and everything survived without me. So I think I can do a longer trip.
Yeah, and it's less intimidating to get started in camping, just to go for a weekend, especially on a weekend like Labor Day or Memorial Day, where it's the long weekend. And
yeah. And one other thing I was going to mention, it kind of relates to this. I was talking about the price of gas. When the price of gas started going up really, really high, and they were talking about $5 a gallon for diesel, the price of the industry critics said, hey, the campground industry is going to go to pot because people aren't going to be able to travel because they're not going to pay for gas. To fill up a diesel motorhome and put 100 gallons in, it's going to cost you $500 just to do that. So they were talking about, potentially that the industry could be taking a slowdown. I don't see any signs of that. I think people, if anything, they stayed closer to home and used less fuel. Right now, I think that people have just kind of come back to a normal level with where things are. And I don't think it's slowing many people down. Also, the price of RVs did take a dip. Now, they were overinflated because we had such a little supply that the demand pricing drove that up throughout COVID, and as people were really starting to dive into camping to get away from home. The prices have come down a little, and I know we are actually on the market for looking to upgrade our coach, but they're going fast. They're not on the market. You've got to be there. It's like kind of the housing market, where it used to be that a house could be for sale for a couple weeks, and you'd have a chance to look and think. And then when the housing started, we got 40 buyers today who want to buy this house, and we got a bidding war. The same thing has pretty much happened with RVs and campers. People were buying them up really, really quickly. I know we had one we were interested in. We called and we're going to place a deposit and arrange to go visit it, and it had sold the night before. So I think there's still a lot of competition in the marketplace, and I really don't think that the market itself is slowing down much. I think it might have taken a quick little slowdown, but I think it's coming right back.
Yeah, by the looks of these studies, it's going up a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even just comparing July to August, it looks like it's upward slope.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yep. All right. Well, anything else that you want to add?
But one other thing I want to do, I want to give a shout out to KOA. A lot of people may be fans or not fans of KOA, but they do a heck of a job in our marketplace to do a lot of statistical analysis and trends and put a lot of data out there in the marketplace for everybody. So I want to thank KOA for their good efforts that they put out and share that information with us. It's always good to have big industry knowledge out there to help us look at where the industry is going.
Definitely. Yep. All right. Well,
all right.
If that's all you have, that's all I have.
Yep.
Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching, if you're an audio listener, you can watch the video on YouTube. If you are looking to listen, you can listen on whatever your favorite platform is. We're probably there. And I think that's it. Make sure you go give us a review on Apple Podcasts.
If you want to reach us, you can reach out through campgroundcompasspodcast.com, or if you'd like to reach out through Campground Accounting, I'm Donna Bordeaux, so my email is donna@campgroundaccounting.com.
All right.
Thank you for listening to Campground Compass. I'm so glad you joined us. Check out the show notes and more of our seasoned advice at campgroundcompasspodcast.com. While you're there, be sure to explore the archives for previous episodes. And if you never want to miss a single audio adventure in 4-season business growth, subscribe to this podcast here and on YouTube. If you like what you're hearing, please consider leaving us a positive review on iTunes. It would be very much appreciated. Friends on social media, check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Campground Compass. Until next time, stay savvy.